Showtime! What is going on, Dragons Mi Familia? We are here with the one and the only 𝐂𝐥𝐢𝐜𝐤.
Hello.
One of the most amazing people that I actually got to talk to a ton in yesterday's stream, who gave us some awesome insight about the tanker class. Now, I don't know, if he's gonna, talk about that at all again today or whatever. We might be able to, but it depends how hype and how entertained you guys are. But this is our phenomenal design lead, the one and the only 𝐂𝐥𝐢𝐜𝐤. 𝐂𝐿𝐥𝐢𝐜𝐤, how are you doing today?
Happy as a puppy, Rain. How are you doing?
Happy as a poppy. I'm doing good. I've never heard that before. What's happy as a poppy?
As a poppy, like, young dogs.
Oh, a puppy. I was thinking like a poppy seed muffin kind of thing.
No, literally the most happy animal on earth.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, perfect. So this is awesome. So for those who might not know, what exactly a design lead is, kind of walk us through a little bit of, what that truly entails within Eternal Dragons.
So it is about making sure that the game is fun and has depth. So I am giving a framework to work within, like the genre of the game, like the affinities and the classes, and they give me all these, not constraints, but like the framework that I need to work within. And I need to make sure that that is an interesting and fun experience and a unique one for Eternal Dragons. You know how there is a genre of games, and there's plenty of games within a genre, but they all differ a little bit. They all do something a little bit different, something to make their games differentiate itself from other games. And that's my job, to make sure that the game has depth, that it caters to all the audiences that we want to cater to, and that it's just fun. It entails making sure that all the classes have their own personality, that they have their own kind of play style. It entails making sure that the numbers in the game are balanced. It means that you have to work a lot in spreadsheets. You have to write a bunch of stuff up, as the articles about the classes show. So it's about making sure that it is fun within the genre for all the types of people that play the genre, because not everybody's looking for exactly the same experience. So you might find a class that plays a certain way, and you don't really enjoy that class that much, but I'm making sure that there's another class that really appeals to the way that you want to play the game.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I love that. So basically, you're the captain of the ship in terms of the game. Like, what's gonna happen in it, our kind of direction, and the things that could be implemented to make sure the game is fun and sustainable for all different levels of consumers, whether it's competitive players, casual players, or people who might just want to do the breeding aspect, right, and collect dragons and nurture them along those lines as well. So that's awesome. I love that. So for everyone, now you guys know who 𝐂𝐥𝐢𝐜𝐤 is. There you go. That is our hero. That is, especially in the community sense, like, guys, this is somebody who, they're active in the Discord. Obviously don't spam them, anything like that. But if you see him talking in one of the chats, right, this is an amazing person to just pick their brain about, current metas, maybe tactics, different kind of concepts, classes, all those lines. So my next question I do want to ask that I think is going to be extremely important here, 𝐂𝐥𝐢𝐜𝐤, is the following. So kind of break down to me, and this is going to be kind of hard for you because you're going to have a lot of different preferences, but what do you feel, I guess, per se, is a very solid team composed of? So in Eternal Dragons, what makes a team solid, strong, and good?
If there was one recipe for a solid team, then I wouldn't be good at my job. That's the gist of it. So I'm making sure that there are ways for the players to explore the mechanics of the game. I cannot foresee all the things that you guys are going to do with the classes, with the placement, with the formations, with the affinities. all I'm trying to make sure is that you have the tools to build whatever the hell you want. So I kind of make sure that there's a bunch of Legos, and what you build is up to you.
I love that. No, I love that. I love that. And I think, you know, something, again, I don't know if you want to talk about it, right? Because this video is going to be going everywhere. But you created something and did something extremely unique for, you know, the upcoming class. And I'm not going to lie, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh my God, why would he do this? This is insane. This is going to be crazy. But then the more I thought about it, and the more we kind of discussed it more in yesterday's stream, it was like, oh wait, no, this is like genius. This gives us so much versatility and different opportunities of utility with this upcoming class for what it is. So just, again, if that was a one-time thing, that's okay. But if you want to talk about what the upcoming class may be and kind of some of the perks behind it, is that a yay or nay? What are we thinking?
Sure.
Let's go!
I just finished writing the article about the tanker, so I want to keep something back, so there's something interesting for you guys to go read there.
Of course.
But sure, fire away. What do you want to know?
Okay, all right. So obviously, you know, the tanker, in the name, it's supposed to be a tank, right? So most people would assume, like, okay, this is a dragon that's, you know, going to be my front line. It's supposed to absorb a lot of damage and, you know, really kind of be the main focal point of where all the attacks are coming from. But with the tanker, what do you feel is something that makes them unique? And what are kind of the perk and class sets that really fall into that whole kind of armor set for the tanker?
There are two things that make the tanker absolutely unique. One is its ability to manipulate buffs, positive effects that are placed on units. No other class will be able to increase the durations of already placed buffs. So if you have a tanker that targets the unit behind it and says, I'm going to increase all the buffs on that unit by 1 turn, that is essentially allowing the tanker to increase the efficacy of buffs that even maybe it didn't place itself. It allows the tanker to combine with any class that places buffs. So there's a lot of combinations and possibilities with the tanker in numerous roles. So I like to think of, like in abstract terms, this is not an absolute way to think about this, but in abstract terms, I generally kind of think about the placement of a class as, what does it do if it's up front? What does it do if it's in the middle? And what does it do if it's behind, at the back? And the tanker has this ability called bear down, which allows the tanker to convert its block into damage. Now, in order to understand why this is a significant effect, we must discuss how armor works and how armor is created, how armor creates block. So all units have this stat called armor, and they might have skills that say something like attack random frontmost unit and gain block equal to 20% of your armor, or 40%, or 60%. So for the tanker unit, that percentage is going to be higher than most other classes because they are so armor based. But here's the thing about armor. It is a temporary bonus. If you boost armor for a unit and you gain block, what block does is that it negates incoming damage. So if you have 10 block and get 10 damage, you receive 0 damage, right? And block is temporary. It is removed from the unit at the start of the unit's turn. So if you gain block and nobody hits your unit, it's essentially a little bit of a wasted time. It didn't do anything for you because then you're going to lose it when the unit takes its next turn. However, the tankers have this special ability, which is called battle-hardened scales, which allows them not to lose the block at the start of the turn. So a tanker has this ability to accumulate block more and more and more. The less it's hit, every turn the block increases. And then, depending on which skill they have, if they have a skill that uses the bear down ability, it will convert all that block into physical damage. Which means either you use your tanker up front and make him take the hits because it has such nice armor and block output. You put him in the middle and make him buff or spread buffs or increase the duration of buffs, or you put him at the back and just make sure it's never hit and just accumulate that armor throughout every round, and then one day, kabooey, it converts all its block into a massive physical strike. And this compensates for the overall lack of damage output the tanker in general has.
Wow. Wow. Dude, if that doesn't get you hype for this upcoming dragon, I don't know what will. I mean, my brain has already been just moving around in circles here because I'm trying to comprehend on like, okay, like the tanker is such a good pivotal piece. Like I feel like, you know, and this is not saying not every dragon is, but obviously you can only have up to 6 on your team, right? So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking and I'm like, dude, I feel like the tanker has to be. Like I have to find a role or a way with a tanker, and then I might have to use 2 of them, right? Because I'm like, there's just so much, you know, versatility, and the adaptability of this dragon alone is incredible. So I'm really excited. I think the tanker is going to be awesome. I think you just said you finished the article. We haven't promoted it yet, right?
No, it's not out yet.
Okay, perfect.
So here's the thing about stacking your team with only one class.
Yeah.
While of course you're boosting those abilities of the class, and if you have an affinity that is especially good for that class and you have 6 of them and they all have the same affinity, you're generating a lot of output, whether it's healing or buffs or debuffs, whatever. So all skills that units have fall into one of 3 categories, basically. You have defense skills, offense skills, and trick skills. Now, certain classes can lock types of skills. Most of the tanker's skills are defensive in nature. Now, let me stipulate. Just because they're defensive in nature doesn't mean they don't do damage. It just means that the output of the skill is tilted towards the defensive nature rather than the offensive nature. So you might have a defensive skill that deals a minor damage, but boosts the block or increases the heals you get or whatever it does. And you might have an offensive skill that deals damage and you gain a small amount of armor from it as well. It just depends on the class. Now, most of the tank's skills are defensive. And that means if you come up against a team that locks defensive skills, you will have a bunch of tankers sitting there doing nothing.
You're right. You're screwed. You are out of luck. Wow.
So they have vulnerabilities and they have positives, and that's the way it should be. There shouldn't be any class or any combination that's always good. They all should have an Achilles heel.
So I love that. Thank you so much for that clarification, right? Because I've had a ton of people in the community that are always asking. They're like, Rain, what happens if I go, 6 mages, Or what happens if I go just, 6 slayers or, 6
The short explanation for that is that you will get a tremendous output from your team in the area they are good in, but they will be vulnerable to classes that counter them harshly.
Yep. Totally agree with that. So I guess then, okay, my next question another one, this is a huge community thing that people have always wanted to know is because right now, obviously the game isn't out, right? So we're all in kind of like the collection phase where we're all obviously minting. We're on the secondary market trying to fill in the gaps of our teams. So what advice would you give to someone who is, getting their dragons through their eggs and purchasing on the secondary market? Do you feel it's best for them to try to focus on all one dragon of the same affinity, but different classes, of course? Or would it be better to invest in a whole bunch of variety to find out which affinity is going to work best for you overall when the game comes out?
When it comes to making decisions based on affinity right now, there's a couple of things that's worth keeping in mind. Firstly, the intent of affinities is to be good almost regardless of which class you are playing with, which classes. Now, this is not a 100% rule. There will be an affinity that's better for your classes, but I'm trying to make sure that none of them are bad. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Okay.
So if you collect a team, whether it's of 1 class or 2 class or 3 classes, and you collect them all in a single affinity, you should feel okay about that.
Okay.
But until we release the exact nature of the affinities, it's hard to kind of recommend one affinity over the other, or saying you should go that way or the other way with your affinities.
So,
What's
yeah, I'm
sorry?
sorry. No, keep going. Yep.
So what's kind of so the two things that you kind of want to keep in mind, three things actually. Try to keep your affinities to maybe a team of 2 or 1 affinity.
Okay.
Try not to spread it out too much, right?
Okay.
Second one is try to collect a team that has neighboring classes. What I mean by that, if you guys have seen the 𝐂𝐤 references that we've made here and there, uh, all the classes have 2 neighboring classes next to them, and they work together. They access the same skill pool or the skill set between them. So if you have a skill set that deals elemental damage and does the elemental dot, and there are other skills there that use the elemental dot to do more damage, then having the classes next to that, you might combine them to get that effect together. So try to collect a team of no more than 3 classes, make sure they are neighboring, make sure that you have no more than 2 affinities, and try to kind of have a representation in each rarity as well. That's the third thing.
Okay.
Because as you build your team throughout a game round, you unlock rarities to appear in the shop. And you want to kind of have a cool unit that reinforces your strategy throughout every rarity tier.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Yeah. I mean, that is extremely helpful. Now, I get everybody in the chat and myself. We're all like, well, shit. Now we got to go get more dragons. Now I got to figure out, okay, what are the neighboring classes? Where do I go? What do I do? What's gonna happen? We're running out of time.
We will show you the 𝐂𝐤 soon enough.
Okay, good.
What I'm trying
good.
to do with my presence on Discord and with my articles is to make sure you guys have the ability to take, at least at this stage, semi-informed information about what you're doing.
Awesome. Yes.
So I'm trying to explain how the game works in details, stage by stage. And one of the things that's upcoming for me is an article about unit turn order. So in these games, it matters which units act first.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
what's going to happen when you place your team is that you're not only placing your team in a way that they buff each other with the roar abilities in the beginning, you're also placing a team because you want them to act in a specific order. You want maybe your buffer to go first, and he buffs the DPS dealer, and then the DPS damage dealer goes next, and he uses the buff to deal more damage.
Yeah.
However, you're always faced with the possibility that your opponent wants to counter that kind of strategy, and they'll try to lock offensive skills for the second unit. So there's a lot of depth there, and and don't be scared. On the surface, you will get a lot of really easy choices to make, but interesting choices, so that you can get into the game with ease. As you begin to understand the classes you're playing with and how they synergize with their neighboring classes or even with other classes, this gets deeper, and you will make more and better informed decisions.
Awesome. That is phenomenal. Thank you so much for that response. I think that is it's calmed us down. A lot of us are at ease now, at least. Yeah. We feel a little bit better.
No, I understand. Like there's a ton of information coming forth, and it's not simple. I try to put it forward in as simple terms and bullet points as step by step as I can.
Perfect.
But there's always something lost in translation.
Yes, of course. And you've been doing a phenomenal job this far. So let's see. We got about one more question from my end here, and then we're gonna rotate into questions from the community. Let them throw like 1 or 2 or 3 at you. We won't hold you here too long. We know it's Friday fun day, and I see that jersey on. Are you by chance? Is there a game tonight?
No.
Dang.
This is the Icelandic football team or soccer team jersey that I wore when they made it to the World Cup.
Okay. All right.
So this one went to Russia.
Wow. That's awesome, man. Congrats. Beautiful jersey.
Yeah, never expected to see that in my lifetime. Such a small country.
Yeah, right. All right, so my final question before we rotate into the community is, again, this is all like community-based stuff, and one of the big, I don't want to say concerns, but underlying questions that I've seen a lot of is the hard thing. It's already very hard in a video game, right? Let's say in Web 2.0 to make sure it's not like pay to win per se, right? Competitive advantage. Now, obviously, in a Web 3.0, where, you know, you have to pay to play kind of a thing for pretty much any Web 3.0 NFT project, which technically, again, for everyone watching, you do not technically have to. You can play, there's a free-to-play route. You just don't have any dragons. You got knights, and he can probably tell you the logistics of that, but you're probably going to get, I'd assume, a team of 6 dragons would destroy a team of 6 knights. Is that correct? Okay, cool. Which is valid. That makes sense. But now the question is, a lot of people have though, is if someone were, because we're gonna have esports, we're gonna have a rank system, we're gonna have all this very highly competitive stuff. If someone, let's say, comes in new to the game, and they just right off the rip, they buy 6 legendaries off the secondary market, they get this super stacked team. Is the advantage they have from having those legendaries so much so that like a team of like commons and a couple rares on their team doesn't have a chance? Or as long as it's dragons, everyone has a good chance?
Oh. This is, of course, a major concern for all gamers that are about to play a game.
Mm-hmm.
When you are in the realm of a collectible game where you have a collection, you're collecting items to play with, just like Magic the Gathering or Pokemon.
Yep.
Of course, the collection that you have access to will determine kind of the power you have access to. Now, I am very conscious of this, and I'm trying to make sure that all things given equal, if you just have minions and somebody has Genesis Dragons, the Genesis Dragons are going to win.
Yeah.
However, if we go one step down and talk about Descendant Dragons and minions, and the minions are of classes that counter the Descendant Dragons, then they should be able to win with clever placement and with clever playstyle. But it's perfectly normal that your team is based on the collection that you have. I think that's perfectly normal. I think it's fair. I've never gone into a collectible card game and expected to win every professional player with their collection with my common cards. That's just not realistic.
Yep.
However, having the minions is a wonderful opportunity to have no barrier of entry to the game. It means that everybody can try it out if you like it. And when you go in for the first time, you're usually just playing against people that have like similar power levels of collections.
Yep.
You know, once in a while you're going to come across some power player that has everything that they need. But so be it. I mean, if I start practicing football now, I'm going to be destroyed by professional players.
Yep.
That's the life. Second thing I wanted to mention about that, if a new player is coming in, they would do better to kind of work on their common, uncommon, and rare collections to begin with.
Okay.
So think of your team as a little machine.
All right.
You need these little parts to begin with to cement the foundation of your intended mechanism. When you get up to the higher rarities, you're putting nitro boosts in your car, or you're putting jet engines on your plane. You're putting some special effects in there that kind of reinforce your whole strategy and make it all come to a fantastic crescendo.
Perfect. I'm following. I get that. I like that.
When you get to the higher levels of professional play of the esports, then the epics and legendaries are going to become more important for you, because then you have equal powers of collections, and you're going to need that unit there that kind of cements your strategy, or you're going to need that unit over there that kind of counters that other player's strategy.
Yeah.
So let's say that you are fostering your roster, you are changing your roster for a game, and in the legendary slot of a class that you want to play, you maybe put in 2 or 3 dragons that kind of reinforce your strategy, but on the safe side, you put in the 4th dragon there to make sure you have a counter to something that's really tough for you. So if we have any Magic the Gathering players, this is often called the side deck. So you play one round, and when you play the next one, you're allowed to swap out a few cards for some other cards to kind of counter what the other guy is playing.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I like that. You know, because when you put it like that, it makes a lot of sense. You know, because like, let's say if you know, a Pokemon reference here. Let's say if you have a Mewtwo, right, and your opponent has a Charmander, the Charmander shouldn't be able to beat the Mewtwo. You know what I'm saying? It's a Mewtwo, and the rarity of it and the way it goes to collect it is massive. So I think the way you explained it, I think is a wonderful way that when people go back and watch this, it's definitely going to help put their mind at ease, and especially
Yeah,
along that question and concern.
don't worry about the power level of your collection when you're starting out. Just
Yep.
focus on something that you find fun. Get a couple of commons and uncommons to kind of tune your roster to that effect. Play it out, meet other minions, enjoy it when you have dragons and they don't, and figure out what you want to do and take it from there.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
the epics and legendaries are always going to be that nitro boost, that jet engine.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah. So currently for my team, I'll tell you a little bit of my team. I have 13 dragons right now. I got one legendary, which my druid. I got a legendary druid in the last batch, which was awesome.
Nice.
And then I have an epic assassin, and then epic druid, and then an epic slayer. Those are my head. Everything else is common. That's the thing. I don't get uncommons or rares. I only get epics, legs, or straight up commons too. So
what a problem you have.
yeah, right. I've been telling the community, they're like Rain, they're rigging your tokens. They're giving you special tokens that are giving you these pools, man. And I'm like, that's not possible. Come on, chill out.
When we reveal the skills that your dragons have, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go check out what your epic and legendary does, and you're gonna figure out, wait, these complete a certain strategy. They just kind of make it all worthwhile. So what you do then, you go back and you find a couple of uncommons, a couple of commons, a couple of rares that kind of build up to that strategy. If you don't have the epics and legendary, just build up from the ground up and worry about the other stuff later, because there are going to be minions of the epic and legendary rarities that also reinforce certain strategies.
Really?
But not as well as
Okay.
the dragons or the Genesis dragons do.
But it's still it could be useful.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
Nobody's gonna left wanting when they play the game. You will be able to complete your strategy, but maybe there's this epic or legendary skill that you're looking for in a dragon that just does it so much better.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Wow, I love that. I love that. I mean, did 𝐂𝐥𝐤𝐜𝐤, thank you so much. I mean, you have been absolutely incredible. You've answered every question flawlessly and provided us with so much information. If you like, we still have a couple of minutes left here. If you're open to it, would you like to answer a couple questions from the community?
Absolutely.
All right, community, let's see what we got. Start asking.
Don't kill me.
Yeah. I'll make sure. Don't go too hard on 𝐂𝐥𝐤𝐜, all right? Or else, they'll never come back here again. All right, we got to take care of our guests. All right, we're 1-1 with Alex. Alex loved it. If we can keep 𝐂𝐥𝐤𝐜 happy, we'll be 2-2. So any questions you have regarding it, again, this is the lead game designer, and we have first question. Here we go. Okay, will descendants of two classes form a hybrid class?
A hybrid class? This is a question about breeding, I gather.
Kind of, yeah. But what I'm thinking is if I have a mage Genesis Dragon and assassin Genesis Dragon, and they breed, what the heck is what's that baby? What the heck is that baby gonna be?
I would rather refrain from commenting on the breeding system right now.
Okay. Yep.
Because it's still so early days in there. Because we need to kind of tune it to other factors that we. Wait, let me rephrase it. There are other factors that we kind of need to aggregate and understand to make sure that the breeding part is as it's intended to be. That I can tell you one thing though. We want players to breed with intent. We don't want it to be a complete throw of the die. So when you are breeding, you are making decisions of what, basically you're deciding the pool of things that could happen when you breed, and you're hoping for maybe these exact things to come out of it.
Okay. I like that. That makes a lot of sense. That I'm the reason I'm talking slow, so I'm thinking, I'm like, okay. I'm putting it all together, yeah.
We call it the breeding game for a reason. If there were no decisions to be made, no information to go on, it wouldn't be much fun. You're just kind of just smashing things together, hoping for some random outcome. That's not what we're aiming for. You will be breeding with intent. You will be making decisions.
All right, we have a. He's not going to be able to answer this question, guys. You got to stop the sneaky question. I mean, okay, you just say you can't answer it, and then we can move on, right? But what can we expect in batch 10?
Super cool units.
Yeah, there we go. All right, super cool units. There you go, folks. We're only on batch 8. All right, we still got
Okay,
2 more.
actually, let me hype batch 10 a little bit.
Okay.
It's gonna be bloody amazing.
Okay. All right, super cool units and bloody amazing. That's confirmed. All right, batch 10 confirmed, folks. There we go. All right, I love it. Yeah. What you got?
If you're minting, you don't want to miss out on batch 10. I promise, it's gonna be super worth your while.
So, like, I guess last hint here. Let's say you could only mint one entire batch out of all the batches. Is this the batch you'd want to mint?
I'd want to mint them all if we're gonna be perfectly honest. But let's say that I was reserved, and I'm like kind of on the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would venture on batch 10.
Okay. I like it. All right. Does anybody? All right. Everybody's just going crazy in chat. They're asking you wild stuff. They are saying crazy stuff. They're saying it's a bloody affinity. They're saying giving birth is bloody, so maybe it's breeding.
I saw one question earlier, like really early in the stream.
Oh yeah.
Somebody asked if you needed a university degree to play the game, which I found hilarious.
I mean,
And,
maybe, I don't know. Right?
Let me answer that. I'm making sure that when you are learning, that the UI and the user experience guides you through the initial decisions that you make. It's gonna be easy to learn, but I promise you that once you learn the basics, there's a depth there that you can fall into for years.
I love that. That is perfect. All right, I think that about wraps it up for our questions here. Do you have? Oh, okay. No, now they decided they think we're about to go to the end, so now they're giving us the good questions.
It's okay. We can chill.
Okay, so I don't even know where to start. All right, let's start with this one first. Okay, so when do you feel a mobile version of the game will be available?
Can't comment.
Can't comment. Good answer. I like it. Where do you see the game in 5 years?
In 5 years' time.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, I'm like trying to imagine too, right?
So it's not about where I see this particular game in 5 years' time.
Yep.
As most of you should know, we are not creating just one game. We are creating the Internal Dragons world, which consists of several products or several games. So in 5 years' time, I see Dragoneers playing different games because they enjoy different things, and all of them connect, and there is an entire world economy that everybody participates in their own way.
Wow. Were you prepped for that answer?
Nope, not really.
I don't think it could get any better than that. I really don't. That was absolutely perfect. That it made. Okay, a little question for me. I gotta ask. What are your? So obviously, one of the most challenging games is. Let's talk like deep into the future here. One of the most challenging games to create in any game development studio is a MMORPG, right? But obviously, like in the terms like the fantasy. With the dragons, all the capabilities and unique concepts that it would have, I feel like it would work and it would be pretty awesome and very successful to do it. What are your thoughts on potentially that being? Okay, no, let me ask it in the way that I know you can answer no matter what. What are your thoughts on being open to exploring multiple different types of genres for games? There we go.
I am a gamer. That's literally 80% of my identity. The other 20% is my family. I just like games. I've been playing games since 1980, since I was 5 years old. I've gone through all the changes of consoles, PCs, all the versions of different games, how games developed, and I seriously can't find any genre of games that I can't find enjoyment. Well, that's probably not very well worded, but the point is, like, there isn't a genre out there that I don't understand why it is fun. And that insight makes me curious. I like designing. I like creating worlds. I like creating the balance. I like giving people choices and seeing what they do. I used to role play, and I never as a player, always as a GM, always the game master. So because I just like telling stories and I liked giving people choices and see how they react. To me, sometimes this is just a social experiment. So if you ask me if I would like to design an MMORPG, absolutely, dude.
Yeah. That's what I think that's what I'm hearing here. Wow. So what you're saying is, for those who are watching too, no matter what genre of game you like, even somehow in like an FPS game, maybe the dragons are shooting fire out of each other, whatever the heck. There's an opportunity for any type of genre of game to be in Eternal Dragons.
In my mind, that's not really a problem. We can put the world of Eternal Dragons into any format we please. We intend to do a 4X game. I've already designed a 4X game. We wanted to do this kind of unit collection games. I've already designed one of those. So for me, this is just a lot of fun. If I'm going to be totally honest, so we will of course need a couple of iterations to get the balance and the mechanics right and stuff like that.
Yep.
But I think right now we have such a solid foundation for this unit collection game. I think like I can see it in my head, but I can't wait to see what you guys do with it, because you are going to surprise me. There's this thing about game designers. They are not happy until players are better than them at the game. And so you have to design for that. There are so many combinations, so many permutations of classes and positioning and placement. And I have no idea what you guys are going to do. Well, not no idea. I have a rough idea. I've created the framework, but you guys are going to paint the picture for me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to love seeing it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that a lot. That's going to be awesome. Okay, there's a lot of questions pouring in. All right, guys, we only got two more questions. You guys all are throwing them out now. All right, only two more questions. Otherwise, we can't keep them here all night. All right. And I was told I was only supposed to make this be 20, 30 minutes for a YouTube video. We're already over that. So if Black Lotus gets angry, chat, you guys better back me up in general. You guys better back me up. You guys better say how exciting and how awesome it was talking to Snookums and all that good jazz. But here's a question I love, because as myself, I'll be honest, I love to gamble. I love to gamble. It is one of the most fun things in the world. Obviously, gambling responsibly, of course. But I think it's the thrill of it, and especially in a lot of games, I love to do, wagers and really battling out where a lot of the stuff is on the line. So let me ask you this. Is there an opportunity for a concept of wagering, let's say, dragons on the line against one another in the actual game itself? So, like, for example, let's say I enter
like anteing up units?
Yes. So, like, I'm wagering my legendary dragon, so that puts me in a legendary dragon wager room. So only somebody else who wagers a legendary could be in that room, and then the winner takes all.
I'm not aware of any plans for such a thing, so I don't know.
But would you be open to it?
Me personally, would I wager my dragon, or would I be open to having that a feature in the game?
Both. Why not both?
I would not wager my assets personally.
Yep.
I think with such a system comes a lot of responsibility and a lot of pitfalls that might not be apparent at first appearance. And I really wouldn't feel comfortable saying if I was open to it or not until I had time to kind of think about it and evaluate it. So I have really no good answer for you. Sorry.
No. That was a good answer. That was a great answer. I like that. That was good. And then, okay, another aspect again on the maybe so not wagering in that aspect, but let's say top 100 players or whatever, right? There's a feature where you can watch any top 100 player that's playing, in a match, right? They're playing against each other. with the tokens that we have, our tokenomic system, could people kind of bet on which team they think is going to win, almost kind of like a racehorse kind of a thing against one another? Now, I know this is very complex. I know this is not in the game, but what are your thoughts about this?
Pretty much the same answer as before. So
Okay,
there's
okay.
a big difference in playing with assets or playing for assets. So one is
Yep.
you ante up assets and you can lose them or gain other assets. The other one is that your performance is rewarded with assets, whether it's money or units or tokens or whatever. So playing for assets, playing for tokens, playing for money, playing for units, that is something that I absolutely would love to have, because it just makes everything more exciting, doesn't it?
Ah,
When
yes.
there's something to be gained, like you're playing not just for the prestige, but also
Mm-hmm.
for the assets.
Yep. Yep. Awesome. Awesome. You're getting compliments of your jersey now, by the way. People are getting pumped about it. Uh,
uh, Thank you, 𝐬𝐿. I like it too.
all right, we're gonna rotate into the last question now. I think this is a really good one. I think it kind of covers all different aspects here. But what do you think makes Eternal Dragons unique as compared to other competitors on the same platform, just like Genopets or Everseed? So other play to earn, play to own, Web 3.0 games that are also bullish in the Solana network.
I think so. This is gonna sound conceited. I don't know.
No, 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 no. You let it out.
So
You let it out.
one of my main objectives is to have so much hidden depth in placement and team composition that it will last for years to kind of figure everything out,
Wow.
to make sure that you have everything. So I think the systems that differentiate the Eternal Dragons unit collection game, the Chapter 1 Strife game, is how many possibilities there are to form different types of teams with different functionalities.
Yeah.
Plus, we have some other mechanics in the game that are different from everything else. And one of those things is what I talked about, unit turn orders. Two of the biggest things that kind of determine how the game feels and functions is A, unit turn order, in which order the units act, and B, how they target. So I did an article about targeting that kind of explains
Yes.
concisely why targeting is important and why it has such a big impact on how you feel about the game and how the game plays.
Yes. Yeah.
Unit turn order is the second factor of that. So because of how targeting works, placement becomes important. And because of how unit turn order works, placement becomes important. So any one mechanic is never isolated and on its own. It's always evaluated from all the other components that link up to it. Does that make sense?
I mean, to me, yeah, I understand it all. I think the chat understands it roughly because it's basically what, in extremely simple terms, what he's saying is there are multiple different layers of gameplay styles and situations and tactics that rotate into, all sorts of infinite possibilities via the targeting system and the placement system and the depth on that jazz. So everyone should understand 100%. I think you did a phenomenal job. And if you guys, I'm telling you, I'm going to get pissed off. You guys, I'm cutthroat here. You guys know this. If you have not read any of the Medium articles that this amazing human being has done for us, you need to. They are so helpful. If you want to get a competitive advantage entering into this game before it even comes out, you need to read these articles, man. I probably spent at least 30 minutes reading over the targeting article over and over and over again. And then I was like, I need to promote this out. I don't know if he's ready for it to be promoted, but I'm promoting it out. Community, here you go. It's a damn good article. But it is awesome, and it's good, and it's amazing. And, Snookums, big shout out to you, man. You have been so helpful and so insightful to us today. And I'm going to be honest. I know for me, I feel at least a lot more relaxed. I feel safe. I feel like when I enter this game, I'm not just going to be running around blindly trying to figure out what the heck to do. Do I got to dump all my dragons and now buy a whole new set of dragons and, all this crazy stuff. So I think on behalf of everyone here, you have answered awesome questions. I think the longevity and the health status of the game itself is immense right now and looking very, very good. And the last thing that I want to compliment you on personally is the community really, truly appreciates your transparency, your communication, and then your ability to have an open mind, which I think is huge, especially for, the lead game designer, right? Like
Thank you so much.
That's everything. You're welcome. You earned it, man. You're welcome. Thank you. Don't thank me. I should be thanking you. Thank you.
No, I enjoy this. This is fun. A couple of things before we turn off.
Yes, of course. Floor's yours. Take it.
I will be writing an article about unit turn order very soon. I don't think I'll have time for it before the event in Berlin next weekend. But when I do that, I'm also going to cover one of the a small mechanic that makes every unit turn a little bit exciting and a gamble, which is and it's an effect that permeates throughout the entire game. It's rock paper scissors based, but it's thoroughly more complex to get grips with. But once we release the Nonagon with the jewel, which explains all the relationships between the classes, it's going to be understandable visually. The second thing, we've talked a lot about complexity and depth, and I just want to assure everybody that you don't need to know everything when you start playing. All you need to know is pick units of the same color, see what they do, and take it from there.
Oh, okay. I'm not gonna lie, I was lost, but then the ending, you tied it together so well. Thank you. That was perfect. It's the same color, folks. There you go. There you go. No, that's awesome. I love that. And I love you used the word gamble. Thank you. I know you were thinking about me when you said that, so thank you. I'm very excited to see what that is.
Have you recovered from the 4-2 loss yesterday?
Maybe, bro. Maybe. I don't know. It's been tough. It's been a tough life, But the only thing that gets positive and good is all the beauty that's coming from the Eternal Dragons of the game that we have coming out soon. Folks, if you do not know, the next batch coming up is going to be the Tanker class. We talked about it a ton in the AMA. You'll be able to go back in the Twitch broadcast as well as seeing it on YouTube. And if you want to learn more about the Tanker, there's going to be an article that's going to be dropping in the near future as well. It's awesome. It's amazing. 𝐂𝐥𝐢𝐜𝐤 on behalf of the entire community. Oh, real quick, promote your new Discord channel we got going. Promote your
oh, right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got Francisco, our Eternal Dragon, to set up a gaming discussion channel on our Discord. I will be popping my head in there periodically, chilling out for maybe an hour and a half to answer your questions that you have about gameplay and strategy and collection. And I'm thinking I'll probably do this after I release an article, maybe a day after or something like that. Once people have the time to digest a certain article, I'll come in and answer some questions and let you shoot the breeze with me.
Awesome. Dude, that ought to tell you everything about this, development team as a whole right there, right? Like who is doing that? Who is taking, an hour and a half out of their time to directly connect with the community, and answer any questions they have. That's just amazing. That is a huge game changer, and we're very excited to see it. All right, 𝐂𝐥𝐢𝐜𝐤, we are way over our time limit, so I'm going to have to sweet talk Francisco a little bit as well. But overall, one main question to ask, did you have fun?
Yeah, man.
Good.
I always enjoy these little things.
Good.
I like people.
Yeah, and you like dragons.
I do like dragons.
You do like dragons. Any final words you want to say before we head on out?
Stay safe, guys.
All right, stay safe. Peace, love, positivity, abundance. Eternal Dragons. See y'all soon. Be on the lookout. We're going to have a quest dropping in about an hour for Prio status. And, of course, the tokens from yesterday's poker tournament will be distributed. And Tom won again. You guys got to take Tom down. Tom is back-to-back winners of the poker tournament, which for reward status, everything just gets knocked down once, so you guys don't have to worry about that. But someone's got to knock Tom out, folks. Someone has to get Tom out of there. He can't keep winning every single poker week. All right, we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We'll be working on all sorts of big stuff today, and we'll see you next time. Peace.